Hey, Paul. See if we choose the right room this time.
Yep, we did it.
Your real Kilgore was here vibe right now.
What happened to my desk? It's too tall.
I
I need to grow some inches.
just watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids this evening.
All right, everyone.
Hey, John.
All right, let me share my screen. All right, so before this, I went ahead and just went through the docs to set everything up. So I think I did a little test project, so I think things should be working. Let me log into Grafana. Oh, actually, I didn't go through the Grafana steps. Let me do that real quick.
Oh, I have an update to the Grafana dashboards, but I don't think it made it in a nightly. So I'll get you the JSON to import.
Okay, cool. Oh, these weren't the docs. Let's see. Oh, sorry, on the meeting. Yeah.
It's the first one. It's called Prefect Gitaly Cluster now.
Oh, Gitaly Cluster. Oh, we changed it. Okay.
Because the Prefect docs were actually documenting how to configure lots of Gitaly nodes and lots of Prefect nodes to do a lot more than just like route requests.
Right.
Should we rename the file from Prefect then?
I think that, so there's probably plans to do a bit of refactoring. I don't think we want to do a straight rename because we probably want to keep a Prefect file around for like config documentation versus like setup guide. But yeah, I've been talking with Evan Reed about refactoring this further. But
cool.
There's been a lot of changes to all the HA docs all over GitLab recently, so I was just giving it a quick minute to settle down before I started iterating again.
All right, so just went to the Grafana steps. Let's try the Grafana. Oops. Okay. Right. So do we want to demo it? I think the horizontal reads thing got merged, right? Is there anything new we want to try today?
I got you the in the Zoom chat is the link to the JSON for the dashboard.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's take a look at redistribution. That'd be cool. And then I think once we've done that, I'd like to spend some more time looking at data loss. Particularly, it'd be great to validate that we can see metrics and such being generated for non-repository, non-project repository data. So wikis, designs, snippets at a project level, personal snippets. I think they should all be covered, but our demos haven't really been looking at those other kinds of repos. So it'd be good to just do a quick verification of that.
Okay. All right, so is it import?
Yeah, and then you just paste the JSON. Call it whatever you want.
Sure. Oh, it creates a new, oh, does it, oh, it does it to the
Maybe just
existing
leave
one,
that.
I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Hold on, let me go back here. I forgot what it was called.
I think it's either put the name in or paste the JSON. Although the or is kind of like at the bottom.
I see. Oh, did I? Okay. Oh, or okay.
Yeah, they did not. It's not good UI there.
Was that not obvious, John?
Okay, sure. Overwrite. Is it gonna pause that JSON? Does it include the existing ones, or is it?
Yeah, it does. You
the
can
new ones?
overwrite it.
It does.
It'll be
Okay,
fine.
cool. Is it a folder? No. What's that? Oh, unique identifier.
Just change that
That's weird.
UID right there, the third field. Just add something to it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Does it look right?
Yeah, that's it. It's 7
Okay,
panels
cool.
now.
All right. So, I guess we can. Do we want to use www.gitlab.com as our test project or a smaller one?
Happy with any project, I think.
Okay. Okay, I guess we just use a smaller one. Just use Gitly. Okay. All right, so, oh, this is the, oh, I'm sorry. It's not creating a prefect.
I think you want to go to the wrench, right?
Whoops. Yes.
Because you want to change it at the instance level.
Oh yeah.
Settings.
Yeah. Whoops. All right, guys. Let's try this again. Now let's see if it really works.
Maybe we should wait another 30 seconds just before to make sure it catches the update, unless you fix that, Stan.
Fix what?
What that got?
Remember where there's like each thread or worker process caches the settings for 60 seconds?
Yeah, no,
So-
that's been fixed for a while.
Oh, is it?
already.
Oh, great.
Okay. No. Error rate. Guess that's at 0. And just check, make sure that got created onto prefect. Storage 1, yeah.
So the error rate is it's only showing the rate of errors. Do we want to add to that panel successful requests so that it has some context?
This makes sense to me. Let me
Okay.
make sure.
Create a note.
Okay, yeah, put the load balancer there. Okay. I wonder if it's because something's wrong with the metrics not scraping. Maybe I'll try running that rake task. Okay. This one, that's ID3. Okay.
Can that test take an array of repos, or is it just a single value within the brackets?
Right now, it's just a single one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like our first iteration. Okay, looks like it did replicate. Yeah, I think there's something wrong with the way I set up the Prometheus.
Which metric were you looking at?
Just the replication metrics. These guys.
Oh, the latency and delay.
Yeah. We don't get lab, right? Okay. Okay, so I put the individual internal IPs here. Make those bigger. Okay,
What listen
so,
address are we using? Well, we have some of the metrics being populated, so it's able to talk to Prometheus, right?
let's see. Yeah, we got the virtual storage. So
Which metrics
the
are we
election.
missing? The
all the
replication
replication
delay?
ones. Yeah.
Not
Oh well,
populated.
this one, at least this
that
one's
one showed
populating.
up.
If there was zero, I mean, if it couldn't detect the metric type, then I think that grid would be empty too, and it'd say like no data or something to that effect.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird.
It might be a side effect of importing it. Maybe we did something incorrectly. It might not be worth spending too much time on if it works out of the box with Omnibus Nightly.
Okay. Okay. All right. In that case, we could try the horizontal reads. So I forgot. Go to the config.
So horizontal
Preview
reads have to be
config.
turned on directly from the config, or can it be turned on from Omnibus?
I don't think the Omnibus change was made yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
this
that
guy
just barely
got
merged. hmm
Okay. Did that include docs
Okay.
as well?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, I'll do some investigation.
Okay, I guess we need to change on all of them. Huh? Let's distribute it. Okay. All right. And then okay, so I'll do a restart. And then, yeah, I guess we don't have a good way of knowing which one is reading from, but I guess what we can do is we can tail the Gitalys.
So we want maybe a metric to show the number of reads. Well, we already have the mutator for the cache stuff. We have mutators versus writes, or mutators versus read-only operations. We could pull up the Gitaly dashboard if that's configured and look at how many reads are coming in from the various Gitalys.
And just separate by the fully qualified domain name.
Well, right now it's all aggregated together. It's summed, so
I see.
we'd have to modify the query to get that.
Okay. All right. So for now, let's just try it. Okay, I forgot which one's which. Okay, that's 1 on the left and then 2 and 3 on the right.
So we don't have any metrics for monitoring where the read volume's at?
I'm not aware of it. Let me see, we can take a look at the code.
I mean, we might have the
Yeah.
necessary metrics. I don't think we have like a query in mind to figure that out yet. Like, because all we really care about is that we're getting.
So for every request that comes back from secondary, do we tag it with some sort of metadata or have any way of knowing like it came from that secondary, or is that something we can add?
We don't, I don't think we tag it on the metadata coming back.
Yeah, it's kind of
I'm
like leaving
aware
an
of.
internal, right? Like, I don't think we've had a reason for the client to prefect to be able to have to know which.
We don't necessarily need, I mean, it's mostly like this thing came from that query, so it'd be nice to at least trace it, right?
We have the correlation ID that would be on the
Oh,
individual
that's
Gitaly
true.
server, right? So
That's
you could
true.
go
That's
down
true.
to the Gitaly server,
Oh yeah, that's
but not
kind of
back
nice.
up to prefect.
Looks like we do
Yeah, you
have
just have to trace
metrics.
every request individually.
I think it'd be useful. Imagine like a Sentry error in the application or something. So we start seeing some error alerting and we're like, what is going on here? And we discover that it's routing, like, and maybe what's going on is it's routing requests to a stale node because redistribution's going wrong. Like we'd have no way of isolating and detecting like where the Git error is coming from. Maybe there's an error on a Gitaly server, but we'd have to do like a whole lot of manual hoo-ha to work out where to go look for that error.
All right, looks like there should be metrics. Read distribution. I don't see it here. It's weird. I wonder if we're running the bits in this version.
Yeah, what version did you pull?
This should be the nightly. Oh, this is RC1. Yeah, it might not be in there. It's this guy.
What was the
Yeah, the digit is 47B4.
7B4.
Oh, it's way down there. Wait. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay. So it should be in there. Okay, maybe it's not hitting it, that code then. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, if we're not getting the metric, it means it's not actually hitting that code. This get sync to node and then, yeah. Okay. All right, so I guess we'll have to look into that.
Does anyone know, I don't think I reviewed this, but does anyone know how the read-only load balancing works? Is it just doing round robin between the Gitaly
Yeah.
nodes and a shard?
So it looks at the database for up-to-date nodes, and then it just does a random selection from them.
Okay, that's probably because, why is that? Why was it random?
This is Gitaly, sorry. Distributed reads enable equals true, is that right? Distributed reads enable. Okay. All right, well, I think we should move on. James, you want to see some more failure loss scenarios? I mean, data loss scenarios?
Yeah. So I think what would be good is to get turn one of the Gitaly nodes off and then create some snippets at the project and personal level, upload a design, push a wiki thing. And so that's like creating data loss across multiple different repositories that are part of the same project, and then see what the output of the data loss command is and if they're all individually reported.
Okay. All right, so we'll bring Gitaly 2 down. Well, let's check which one's the primary. Gitaly 1's oh, we're on an old one now. Oops. Okay.
So the old one's having the same problem with the replication latency not showing up, right?
Yeah,
I
was
didn't
that
see any
graph
data
link?
there.
Okay.
That's weird.
Paul, have you got a note in the agenda to look into that?
Sure.
All right, so we'll bring Gitaly 2 down. So create a wiki. Oh, content from the bank.
Hey, John, when you were looking at the raw metrics, did you see those metrics in there? Replication, latency, and delay?
Good question. I guess we can just try to create one and then use the query thing here.
Because it may not populate here either. In which case, maybe we could just look at the slash
yeah.
metrics page.
I see them here, so.
That's weird. Okay. I'll
Oh,
verify
we have
it.
them. That is so weird. It has data. So what's up with these guys? I wonder if it's.
Did you just change the window? Is that what happened where you saw the data?
I don't think the window changed here. Let me just copy this. Just try to create a new query here, and then. Maybe something doesn't like the query somehow. I'm just gonna put in the metric name. Yeah, okay. There's some issue with the query that it doesn't like because the data's there.
Okay, I'll verify that didn't inadvertently change because I modified the dashboard through the GUI. But but it's broken on the other one. We haven't changed that in a long time, so that's weird.
Sorry, I should delete this guy.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but yeah, that's very strange. Okay, I'll add some notes.
Okay. All right, so back to our snippet. And then how do you add a design again? I forgot.
Go to issues and then create an issue.
Okay. Okay.
And just submit that, and then
I'll
the
create
design
first.
tab. And then the designs tab, you should be able to
Oh, right. Okay.
drop a JPEG.
So just. Oh, that's
it.
So it should be added, right? Okay.
Yep. Do you have to click add designs, or what does that do?
Yeah, it lets you add more. Looks
Oh,
like
okay. I think it's already added. That was too easy.
Yeah.
And you just created a project snippet? Did you create a personal snippet by going to the plus button in the nav bar at the top?
No.
And then just going new snippet, that one. Oh no, that was a project snippet.
Oh.
How do you create a personal snippet?
Down here?
No, I think
this is it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So what repository do personal snippets go into?
They're apparently their own repositories now.
Huh.
Well, yeah. So before it was just like a snippet that was in your own database, right? Now it's actually a Git repository.
Oh, interesting.
Under I think your user, but I have to check the personal one.
Okay.
So that's why there's a clone button there now, I think. Can you actually clone it now? Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Oh, interesting.
Cool.
Snippets. It's under a global snippets.
Snippets. I guess for personal snippets, yeah.
Still, it's interesting. Does that mean every Snippet is just snippet slash some dot something dot get.
This is the root user, right? Is root user different?
I suspect not, but
No, yeah.
I suspect that's the way it is. You can guess everybody's snippet project names.
Guess there are permissions on it, but
Yeah,
still.
it's a little.
I mean, I guess that's the path that it's always been at /snippets, and then
Yeah,
an
it's always been
integer
there. Yeah, so nothing has changed. You just now have made it more obvious to clone.
Okay. So do we want to do a failover?
Yeah, so if we run the data loss command now, what kind of output are we expecting?
Okay.
We've had one of the nodes down while these changes have been made.
Yeah, Gitaly 2 has been down. Let's just make sure. Yeah, Gitaly 2 has been down this whole time. So let me go to our data loss. Oh, whoops. This guy, right? Okay, and we run that from the prefect box.
Yes. Yeah, I think you can run it without the timestamp.
Okay, I'll delete the timestamp. Whoops. All right. You guys see that?
There's
All
the
right,
little
so-
snippets,
Oh, Snip is under its own
little snippety doos right there.
subdirectory. Okay. So see, design a wiki, and then okay, and then 2 snippets. Okay, I guess that is expected. Although I wonder why it's 2 jobs each for the design to get, and then 4 jobs. I guess because they're more mutator RPCs that run. Not sure.
Is there the total number of jobs that haven't been replicated, or there's a failed?
I imagine those are the number of
Failed.
number of dead jobs, I believe, per repository.
Yeah, they've been retried 3 times for the same Gitaly RPC.
Okay, so we should probably
then
clean
they're
up this
dead.
output to make it a little more obvious because it's hard to read what that's saying.
Yeah, there's an issue scheduled for 13.1 to remove the job count because the job count is misleading and like it doesn't really provide the information you might think it does. And there's also inaccuracies in the methodology used where it, like, if there's dead jobs and then a successful replication, it still counts the dead jobs, even though it's been So there's a whole lot of problems with this data loss command that are scheduled to be fixed.
Okay, what's that m equals negative number there on the first line? The failed replication jobs between.
This is GPS coordinates.
We're tracking location.
It's the only
I
way.
don't know what that m equals. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Can you make a note of that, Paul, in the doc?
Sure.
To remove the GPS coordinates.
Prefix is GPS enabled.
I thought they hadn't rolled out JAMP yet.
Okay, so does that tell us that these repositories have not been replicated properly then? Like we should expect to see inconsistent data among the different nodes?
Yeah.
So
I
this
think
is
'cause-
another feature improvement for 13.1 that's scheduled, which is to list which nodes the jobs are failed on. So whether it's failed on all nodes, or in this case, it should only be listing Gitaly 2. Because right now it doesn't tell an admin like where the data loss is. Because if you're looking at like a system level, there actually hasn't been data loss yet because there is a replica there's like 2 copies of this repo, 2 copies of those changes, but there's one node that's behind and missing this data.
Right.
So the output of this is misleading, in multiple regards. The other aspect, which there's another issue about, is the fact that as an administrator, it's useful to know that there are 4 distinct repos that are missing data, but it's very unhelpful knowing which they are. Like it might matter a lot if the 5 repos missing data are the repos that everyone's working on, like GitLab org. But if they were other repos, it might matter less. But the first thing an administrator is going to want to do is copy and paste the output of this and put it in an email and send it to their boss. And they're like, it's okay, we've got 20 repos that lost data, and these are the ones we're going to like work on recovering. But currently an admin would have to go and convert all these hashed IDs to useful IDs to communicate it to anyone who's not a sysadmin. So there's another issue about that as well.
Are we
Right.
planning on storing the actual GitLab project path with this information as sort of a helpful?
That's not within, like, the actual approach for implementation is not specified, just that we should include in the output. I think there's the possibility of like making an API call out to Rails to find out, or the other approach would be to just store it in the prefect database when jobs are coming through, because all this information is attached to the request.
Right.
And that would
Project paths
simplify it a
change
lot.
though, right? I mean,
They do, but you could at least take the last one from the most recent timestamp.
yeah, as long as we make sure it's not used for anything else other than illustrative purposes, like we don't want to rely on some project path that can change.
No, we're not. That's why hash storage is there. It's just that these are not human readable, right? So if I need to go figure out is the GitLab project behind, it takes a lot of steps to kind of figure that out right here. I think that's what James is saying, is either we make an API call or we just display that front and center.
Yeah.
So the other aspect to data loss is marking repositories as read-only if there is data loss. I believe that's merged.
Yeah.
Is that on by default?
Yes. It should. Well, actually, let me look at the.
I thought that Sammy said that it's triggered, the read-only mode is triggered by restarting Gitaly, and we don't want that to happen in production, so it's behind a configuration toggle.
Oh,
Yeah. So we could try this. We only have to failover. So. Oh wait, it's under the failover. Okay. Whoops, I messed up. Okay. All right,
Okay,
so
you probably want to shut down 3, which is up to date, so that the only failover that can happen is to 2 when you bring down 1, and
Right.
that would turn on read only.
right. Okay, stopping Gitaly 3, and then I'm gonna bring Gitaly 2 back up. I'm gonna bring Gitaly 1 down. Okay, let's check Grafana. This is our Oh wait, those are primary. Oh, we lose our.
Now you have replication latency and delay though.
Oh, weird. All right. Is this, which query is this? Oh, it's the primaries, okay.
So enabling that that configuration toggle removed the shard primary election metrics.
Which toggle?
You enabled the read only on failure, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if this was working before.
I think no, it was working earlier in
Yeah,
this
you
demo.
checked it earlier.
But then the other replication graphs came up? I'm very
They're
confused.
sporadic. There's
Okay.
like data coming in occasionally. That it's very odd. But this one was working consistently because this one just looks at, you know, what was the last primary reported by each prefect virtual storage.
All right. Do we want to
That's
try and
really
reload that
weird.
snippet and edit the
Yeah.
snippet? Because we're getting close to time.
Okay. All right. It's 503.
That's probably because the snippet doesn't exist at all on the.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
There's
Well,
no
what we
way to
can do-
make it marked read only because it just doesn't exist.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe I don't think any of those things will have existed because we created a new wiki, we created new designs, we created they're all just going to fire through.
Right. But it's okay. Well, what we can do is
how about we quickly run the recovery command? We bring up Gitaly 1 and run the command and see if it recovers everything.
Reconcile. It's in the
Reconcile, that's the
docs.
Okay, so I'm going to bring Gitaly 1 back up. So now they're all up, and then oops. So I run this. Okay, it's on the prefect box as well. Storage 1 is it? And target.
Well, can someone explain target? Is target Gitaly 2 or Gitaly 1? Like, is that the source or the target? I'm confused.
Target is the one that is recovering.
Okay. And how does it determine which node to recover from?
That's based on the internal prefect state, but you can override it with another flag. So
Okay.
prefect knows which one's the primary right now, so it's relying on that.
So the source for each repo is being automatically determined by prefect.
Yes.
And that assumes the primary is always the correct, is the
Yes.
most current one, right?
Yeah. Because we could have like some split brain situations, right, where the primary's the latest for some, but not all of them, and it just uses them for all of them. So it's like this naive approach.
So prefect 2 is currently the primary, and we're restoring the primary from the one that is a secondary.
What's going on here? Is it not up?
Did you say prefect 2, or do you mean Gitaly?
Gitaly 2. Gitaly 2 is primary.
Yeah, so it'll iterate over Gitaly 2's file system, find all repos, and then copy them over.
Except Gitaly 2 is the one that's out of date.
Oh,
It's the
so
one
we're
that's
pointing out the
read-only.
wrong one.
That's why I'm asking, like.
What IP is that? 126?
120. Let me check my list.
Yeah,
here.
so if that's one we're using, then we
That's
would
a load
want to
balancer
override it
IP.
possibly.
Oh, interesting.
If we know which one we actually want to pick from, you can specify that as the reference.
And that will enforce it being the source of truth for every single repo.
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't really work in the scenario where Prefect 2 had some repos which were fine and they have since moved ahead and you're just trying to recover the 5 read-only repos.
Yeah, we might need to
Oh, this is.
consult the database to find out which ones from that primary
Oh,
are
wait.
latest.
Oh, this is the 0.0.0 issue, is it? Because it can't. It's actually trying to talk to itself.
Oh, can it talk to itself through the internal IP?
Well, that's a load balancer IP, right?
Right.
So I'm guessing it's. Why would it have trouble? I'm guessing because it's actually just getting routed to the loopback adapter. Maybe it's not working here. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing if you change that to 0.0. Because is it trying to talk to itself here?
It's a command line tool talking to the prefect server.
Oh, but this is prefect locally, right? This is running on
Yeah.
It relies on the config file to know how to reach prefect.
Right. I'm just trying to. I'm guessing it can't talk to it because it's.
Maybe the tool
could
should
reconfigure.
require you to specify the address.
You
So
have to
we'd say,
reconfigure, I think, right?
Yeah.
You change
Oh, that
addresses.
was on. Oh, yeah. Configure. Okay.
So interesting. This is a Google quirk, I think.
this is how all of our sub commands work right now. We just rely on the user providing all the right connection information in the config file, the prefect config file. If that's not going to always work, like on Google, maybe we should have an override where you can say, use this IP address instead of what's in the config file.
Right. But that's something else people have to think about.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
It's complicated.
Would it be worthwhile to try doing this in AWS sometime, just to make sure that this is sane?
Yeah, AWS doesn't have a crazy load balancer the way Google has it. Oh, I guess it's still not able to dial that. Oh, it's trying to dial that. Interesting.
I want to be respectful of everyone's time, so I think we should probably quickly review the agenda and assign action items. So I've been a little lax in being clear who should do what and by when. So let's go through the agenda. So the first thing we noticed was the dashboard should add total requests so the error rate has context. Paul, can you both create an issue and try to address that in time for next demo? Distribute reads. So I will investigate the status of distributing reads, the docs, follow up, and make sure that's addressed as a priority so that we don't leave something half finished. Same with the metrics. Make sure that metrics are addressed before Pablo moves on to Sammy. I can't remember who did that one.
Which one?
Distributing reads.
Oh, that was Pablo.
Okay, I'll follow up with Pablo on that. Stan asked about knowing which Gitaly something's coming from for Rails. Stan, can you create an issue for that? I don't think we'll action that this week, but we'll consider that for 13.
Okay, there might already be an issue for that, but yeah, I'll take a look.
Thanks. We're not seeing any replication latency or delay. Paul, since you're working on the dashboards, can you take that as an action item to create an issue and address that for next week? Because we want all our debugging to be done based on the dashboard. I'll create an issue about the data loss command having GPS or some weird offset thing. Read-only mode, that was Sammy. Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
follow up with Sammy on follow-up issues and also getting a count in Grafana, because I think we'd want to actually observe the number of read-only projects in Grafana on any given Gitaly node. So that doesn't get left hanging. And then this final issue about reconcile, I think we covered that last week, and there's a couple of issues, Paul, where there's discussions happening, but I think I might split out a new one and make sure that like concrete action item is scheduled for 13.2. Cool. Is everyone clear on what issues need to be created and what things need to be fixed before next week's demo?
Yep.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much, John, for demoing.
All right. Thanks,
Hey,
everyone.
nice job there. Thanks.
All right, take
Have
it
a
easy,
great day.
everyone.
Bye.